Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
You cannot spend your way out of a recession.
We're not going to be in a recession.
We are not in a recession now.
Gas prices have declined by an average of 66 cents.
To protect individuals that have been impacted by monkeypox, it's really important that we do not use this moment to propagate homophobic or transphobic messaging.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views. It is Tuesday. So all over the news today was the story that Tony Dow had passed away. Tony Dow, the older brother in Leave It to Beaver, Wally Cleaver. Turns out, though, that his wife, Lauren Dow, came out today and said that's not correct. He's in hospice. He's not doing well. He's got cancer, and he's in the twilight days of life, but he has not passed away. So, yeah, if you think about it, say a prayer for Tony Dow as he slips into eternity. North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis plans to vote in favor of a bill in Congress that creates a federal law protecting same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. Now, they got to put interracial marriage in this. This is out of the News and Observer, by the way. They got to put interracial marriage in there to equate interracial marriage with gay marriage as if that's on the same playing field. Mm-hmm. Tillis said, I'm prepared to support it. In fact, he came back and said, let me make it real clear, I am supporting this bill. Now, there are a number of Republicans in the Senate that have come out. The question is, will they get 10 senators to get over the 60-vote threshold? Tillis defended the bill's text, saying, if you look at this, it's a sincere codification of the current law. Well, it's the current, listen, there's not a current law. There's an opinion by the Supreme Court. In fact, the current law is called the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act. And basically, this law does the opposite of the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act, which was signed into law by President Bill Clinton. Chucky Schumer is going to present this to the Senate in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure he's counting heads. I guess they're aren't they on vacation here the next couple of weeks?
I know, and it's normally in August, so yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but when they come back, that's probably one of the first things on the agenda.
Which I think the country fares better when they're on vacation, honestly.
Thank you. John Stonestreet wrote a interesting op-ed on his Breakpoint piece. The Respect of Marriage Act, he says, is anything but. 5 Republican senators have indicated they will support the bill. Portman, Collins, Tillis, Murkowski, and Ron Johnson. Is that who? Ron Johnson is supporting this?
From Wisconsin?
It says Johnson. It says Johnson. It doesn't give the last name. I would be shocked if that was Ron Johnson. I'd be highly disappointed if that was Ron Johnson. The bill would replace the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act, which was signed into law by Bill Clinton. It would also shore up and extend the impact of Obergefell versus Hodges, the landmark Supreme Court decision that overturned marriage laws in dozens of states, enshrined same-sex marriage as, quote, the law of the land, and redefined the institution of marriage by judicial fiat. Codifying a redefined understanding of marriage, something this bill fails to define, will only incentivize local governments and activist groups to use state power to suppress dissent. There are no conscience protections in the bill. There will be none added. Though we were assured by advocates of same-sex marriage that no one would be hurt by someone else's union, a growing number of bakers, florists, web designers, and others prove otherwise. I mean, this is where the problem is going to come up. They're going to say, okay, this new bill is going to be fine, and all it does is allow to codify what the Supreme Court has already said so that they cannot undo it. As we talked about earlier, Clarence Thomas has also said concerning Obergefell that it's probably a good idea for the federal government not to get into marriage laws. Let's send that back to the states, just as they did for Roe. It doesn't mean that it's going to be outlawed. It means let the states decide. And with that, everybody went bananas thinking, oh, they're going to undo what has already been done. And just like they did in Roe, well, they'll send it back to the states and they can decide whether they're going to undo it or do it. But bottom line is there are not going to be any kind of, and they've said, and Schumer has said, there's not going to be any exceptions so bakers can say, you know what, I don't want to bake a cake for a gay marriage. Mm-hmm. Or a florist cannot say, you know what, go to another florist. And it's not as if these people cannot get the services they want. Again, they want you to celebrate and affirm what they are doing. The idea that somehow, if this passes, we'll live in kumbaya, if Tillis thinks that, he's being very, very naive. He's opening up a can of worms. I mean, the other thing, too, is a healthy marriage with a husband and a wife is the best setting to raise children in. Sorry if you disagree with me. I know that is not always possible. I mean, we live in a sin-fallen world, and I know there's a lot of single parents out there that are doing the best they can. I'm just saying, ideally, that is the best formula for a healthy family. And when we have something like this, that it's not just going to be, okay, this is neutral ground. This is going to be step one to allow zealots to continue to push their agenda, that you're going to have to come in and approve what they want.
Mm-hmm. Well, the modern day Democrat Party that's ruled by extremist progressives, it's not enough that the opposing view, you can't say, okay, I disagree with you, but, hey, I disagree with you, but live your life the way you want to. That's not good enough.
No.
You have to agree with my way of life in a discussion, and to hell with everything else. That's the modern-day Democrat Party.
Not only agree with it, but affirm it and celebrate it.
Affirm it, celebrate it, and if you don't, then I'm going to demonize you, I'm going to counsel you, I'm going to do everything there is to ruin your life. I mean, that's the way they do on every single issue. I think this is just another attempt by the Democrats in Congress. I think Tom Tillis is just taking a bait like a rat with cheap cheese of, hey, here we go. Here's another issue we can just try to divide people, and try to say something that's going on that's potentially can happen, that can't happen, and get pointers, get on CNN about it. And by the way, out of CNN, vulnerable GOP Senator Ron Johnson signals he would vote for same-sex marriage.
Wow. That is really disappointing.
And I guess, to that point, Wisconsin's, it's like a North Carolina.
Boy, if this is not why we
Uh-huh.
need term limits, I don't know what is. I mean, look, I like Ron Johnson. I like everything he stands for. But if this is not why we need term limits, I mean, this is a great example of a guy who's in a tough race for re-election, and he drops his standards. Why? Because he wants to be reelected, and he's pulling for votes there. Mm-hmm. Very disappointing, and extremely disappointing in Tom Tillis.
Yeah, maybe they think, well, hey, this isn't a hill worth dying on for some other things, but you just can't. Again, the modern day Democrat Party, you really can't agree with them on any, because their ideas is not compromise. Their ideas is not meeting the middle on any issue. They're wanting you to get close enough to the middle so they can grab you by the nape of the neck and yank you to another side. That's what the modern day Democrat Party is.
I would encourage you, if you're listening and you're agreeing with us, I'd give Tillis a call. Let him know. Inundate his office with phone calls. Let him know how you feel about this Respect for Marriage Act. Anything but respect for marriage. Really. Again, this is a building block on which societies have thrived for centuries. and we're tossing it out the window.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just something they just need to. I mean, it's just not. They don't need to buck on it, and they've let just a few senators fold, and then the rest of them cave. Cave like an avalanche.
Yep. Daily Caller is reporting Joe Biden's Department of Health and Human Services moved to strengthen Obama-era rules that would force insurance providers receiving federal funding for sex change procedures in a Monday rule change proposal. Again, this is exactly what we were just talking about. So, a few years ago it was, okay, if I want a sex change, just leave me alone. Now, okay, we're going to force taxpayers to pay for the sex change. That's going to be part of the benefits. And listen, you said, well, that's the insurance company. If this passes, your insurance premium will go up. You will be paying for this in your premium.
It will be considered health care.
Well, that's exactly what they're pushing.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they're pushing. I mean, and the most unpleasant-looking human being on the face of the earth, Assistant Secretary of Health Rachel, don't call me Richard Levine, wrote, it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability in certain health programs and activities. And again, they are trying to equate what is an aberrant lifestyle. I'm sorry, I'm not being ugly here. I mean, it is a highly different lifestyle. They're trying to equate that with racism. Listen, these. I'm sorry, I disagree with the people that say they can't help it. It's how they were born. These are choices that people are making. Bottom line, the rule would expand Section 1557 of the Affordable Health Care's ACA ban on sex-based discrimination to include gender identity, sexual orientation, and pregnancy-related conditions, including abortion, according to a Monday announcement. In practice, this would mean forcing health insurance providers to cover sex change procedures, according to Roger Servino, former director of HHS Office for Civil Rights. Quote, by imposing an unscientific gender standard of care and requiring insurance plans to pay for it, the rule would result in sterilization, loss of sexual function, removal of healthy reproductive organs, and a plethora of unnecessary surgeries and chemical interventions with lifelong consequences, Severino said. And they want to include in this children. This is child abuse. And this administration is asking our country to do a slow, painful suicide. I'm sorry. You cannot look at this and say, well, this is good. This is healthy. Yeah, let's go down this road. This sounds like it makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and let's promote this and encourage this. And if a child is confused, and listen, there are a lot of kids that are confused when you're 6, 7, 8 years old. Mm-hmm. They don't know biology. Mommy, why do I have this down here and she doesn't? And I mean, why? There's confusion, and 99% of the times they outgrow it. But these perverted people want to go in and do surgery on these kids when, frankly, and again, the statistics prove that over time they outgrow these things.
And for decades, not only conservatives but moderates, because I consider myself really a moderate. I'm a conservative, but I'm kind of a moderate conservative. But for decades, we have warned the Democrats. When we start going down a little road in chunks, saying no, we can't go there because eventually we'll be here. Oh no, yeah. You're being ridiculous. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden we say that men can get pregnant, and we can't even talk about.
But you can't define what a woman is.
Can't define what a woman is. You got to. Let's see. A person with the capacity for pregnancy. That's the new language now.
Yeah.
A person with the capacity for pregnancy.
The American Principles Project, a conservative advocacy organization, suggested that the rule would force healthcare workers to provide sex change treatments, along with forcing insurance providers to cover them. So once again, just like this new marriage act they want to put through. There's not going to be opportunity. If you disagree with this, too bad, you will be forced to participate in it. Doctors will likely be forced to facilitate sex change procedures for minors or else risk losing their jobs. The rule would also mandate that insurance companies cover these procedures, thus compelling Americans to subsidize them through their insurance premiums. Just what we said. Can't make it up. It is a sad state of affairs.
It's like that. Every day it's like another issue like this that's extreme that we're facing. And really, just look back the end of Obama's second term. Look where we were and the things that President Obama said he stood for and against. And we're like 180 degrees away from that.
Oh yeah, when he first went into office,
marriage is between a man and a
yes,
woman. Yeah.
Exactly.
Marriage between a man and a woman.
Exactly.
Just as adamant about that and confident in that position as anything.
Yeah. And I think Hillary said the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. Listen, when we get back, a little bit of good news. I'm not sure why they decided what they did, but one conference, the Ivy League conference, or I guess there's a
Ivy League.
Ivy League.
Mm-hmm.
They actually made a rational decision. I'm not sure it was for noble purposes. It might have been to cover their fannies. We'll talk about that when we get back. Stay with us.
Got a trade? Then get to Greenville Toyota. We're out to buy 500 local trades, and we'll buy you out with our best offer. Or trade in for a new Toyota and get our Greenville Advantage with no-cost lifetime maintenance and more. Don't miss the trade buyout at Greenville Toyota.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Quick look at your weather forecast. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms early, then cloudy skies after midnight, a low near 75. By the way, it's raining at a good portion of our listening areas. on the way into the studios, and you could see off to the west dark skies. But looking at the radar, it's already covering most to the north, most of our listening area. To the south, you're going to get it in a little bit. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible, high of 96. Tomorrow night, more scattered thunderstorms, chance of rain tomorrow night, 40%. And then partly cloudy skies on Thursday with a high in the upper 90s. So warm, but we are getting a few showers that we need.
We really need some rain.
Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Whether you're looking to spend your summer poolside, courtside, or greenside, Ironwood has you covered. They offer a variety of memberships tailored to fit your lifestyle with no initiation fees. Headed to the beach, pack your clubs. Ironwood members receive reciprocal golf and dining privileges at the Beaufort Club in Beaufort and Compass Point Golf Club and Magnolia Greens located near Wilmington. For more information, contact Membership Director Jenna Doyle. Her number is 252-752-4653. Join in the fun at Ironwood today, a part of the Renaissance Golf Group. All right. I am... I just feel like being overly blunt today because I'm so sick of the nonsensical garbage that is being fed to us and forced upon us. The NCAA announced its conference selection for the 2022 Woman of the Year Award on Monday, naming Columbia University fencer Sylvie Binder, or Binder, I guess it is, as the Ivy League pick. Overall national champion and University of Pennsylvania transgender swimmer Leah Thomas did not get the nod. Binder, a senior from Armonk, New York, was among the 577 overall students nominated for this honor earlier this month and was one of the 8 athletes nominated from the Ivy League Conference. Binder beat out several other athletes for distinction, including Thomas, whose nomination in mid-January sparked a debate surrounding Thomas's eligibility. I refuse to say her eligibility as the transgender athlete. Thomas set records in the pool during the 2021-22 college swimming season, culminating in an NCAA swimming championship in March. At the Ivy League Championship in February, Thomas finished first in points out of 129 female swimmers, taking home first place in 3 events. Thomas won a 100-meter freestyle in 47.63 seconds, which was a school and meet record time. Thomas, his setback as to why Thomas did not receive the honor of Woman of the Year was perhaps the fact that Thomas has a penis. I mean, this is beyond the pale. And we're supposed to sit there and applaud. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
A dangling participle.
Yeah.
Sorry, English teachers.
Something dangling. Thomas swam for the men's swim team at Penn for 3 seasons, which makes sense as Thomas does indeed have junk in the trunks. Thomas was one of 2 individuals to be nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year from the University of Pennsylvania. There was a tennis player from Russia who was also nominated. According to the NCAA website, a school may nominate 2 individuals for the award if one of the 2 nominees is a student athlete of color or international student athlete. No doubt, as the NCAA seems to be on a suicide mission, they will give additional exceptions for transgenders. I mean, the NCAA really does have a death wish. I mean, are they doing anything that is helping the cause?
Well, they're getting ready to be over. I think the NCAA, I mean, the only thing they'll have going for them is the NCAA basketball tournament, which that's where they make most of their money. But this whole new realignment of conferences and all, I think is going to make NCAA just a moot point. But, you know, the sad part of this is the fact that years and years ago when I was in college, I tutored in the athletic department. And not only male athletes but female athletes, and I look back to see how hard all of them worked, but particularly at that time when Title IX was still just kind of in its infant stages, and just to see how hard they worked, and you got like these female swimmers that the guy competed against. I'm not going to call him Leah. The guy competed against him. They worked their tails off. Probably started swimming, 8-10 hours a day when they were 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
And particularly ones that say their senior years, and they just have someone come in and just wipe everything away.
Yep.
And then what's worse than that, the school, the University of Pennsylvania, the other swimmers on the University of Pennsylvania, to be slapped in the face after this by nominating her Woman of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you can't possibly explain that and tell me that makes sense.
War on women.
If you do, yeah. Where is who's some of the feminists that's always stand up for women? But I mean, where are they?
Quiet. Crickets.
Yeah. Crickets.
It's
all about politics and messaging. And here's someone else that here's a few voters we think we can divide Democrat Party, and it's just unbelievable. Can't believe we're here.
Well, and I will tip my hat to them. They have done a pretty good job at making a lot of people think that there are a lot of people that are in agreement with them. I am fully convinced that if you went out and did a legitimate poll, the percentage of people that think it was fair that this Thomas individual was nominated as the Women Athlete of the Year was that fair? I think the numbers would be fairly high that they would say, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and the sport that he competed with in college for 3 years, he was ranked like 485.
Right.
And then immediately he's number one ranked.
What does that tell you?
I mean, give me a break.
What does that tell you?
I just can't. And for University of Pennsylvania to allow that just tells me all about, well, what I knew about higher education, particularly Ivy League higher education.
That tells you a lot about Ivy League. 561-8255. Who do we have, Clark? Alex is on the line. Hey, Alex. From Greenville.
Hey, Alex.
How are y'all?
Doing well. Hope you are.
Good. I was just listening to what you had to say about Leah Thomas, and my question to you is, with what you know about the Respect for Marriage bill you're referencing, would y'all be in violation by saying he instead of she?
Probably.
I was about to say, it pretty much is word police.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now going to make y'all, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And, I remember decades ago when political correctness first came in, I remember chuckling to myself about how ridiculous it is and how can that possibly go anywhere. But these zealots, they've gotten a little power, and, boy, they're going to force it. They're going to put the knife to your neck. And if you don't conform, they're going to slit your throat.
Yeah, to your point, Alex, is it now going to be codified that you can't misspeak? I mean, I can look at this guy and I can't call him a girl.
Yeah, I mean, this is truly a modern day example of the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah.
We're all supposed to sit back and say, "Oh, what a fine set of clothes the emperor has," as he walks down the street stark naked, and it will be a child that will say, "That guy's stark naked. What do you mean that guy's a girl? That guy's not a girl. He's a guy." And in fact, this conversation came up with one of my grandsons not too long ago, and his response was, "What? What are you talking about, Pops?" I said, "Yeah. Well, grandson, that's the world in which we live." Yeah, good point, Alex. Probably so.
Thanks for your time.
They'll probably toss me off the air.
I think we're truly living in a Lord of the Flies moment of where you have, the 1954 novel by William Golding, one of my favorite growing up, and especially in high school when I read it in high school, where you basically have a desert island of kids trying to run a civilization,
and they're killing each other,
and they're killing each other and doing things that are just not morally right, practically right, pragmatically right, and everything, and that's kind of where we're living in now. And I think back to the November 2020 election, and I'm not going to word it exactly, but Victor Davis Hanson made a statement. This time he said, presidential elections are normally about this and that, and he named several things. I don't remember what it was. He said, but this time, this election is plain and simple. You are voting for if you want civilization, and that is exactly right.
Yep.
Look just how far we have come since the election of November 2020, when Joe Biden, supposedly got a few more votes than Donald Trump, 12,000 more votes to win those districts. Look how far we've come already. Yeah. I mean, we're almost to the point of we won't have a civilization if we advance 2 more years like we have the next.
And I wonder if that's their game plan.
I think it's the end goal. I really think it's the oligarchs.
Can they completely take us down in the next 24, 28 months?
I think the oligarchs are trying to burn the system down so they'll be in complete control of everything.
561-8255. Let's take a timeout. We'll be right back.
On location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village here in Greenville. One of my favorite people. We've got Lisa Pendry here. And Lisa, big news. You've been working on the store. It looks fantastic. You finally have finished the transformation of the store. You've got your Norwalk Gallery open. Give us the whole story here.
We are excited. It's been a big process. It's taken us a while, but now all of our renovations complete, from paint colors to little elegant showroom areas to highlight everything we offer here at Fabric and Home Furnishings.
And we say that it's a furniture store and so much more, and of course that means you also have designers on staff. So tell us about that. You got some new folks.
I do. I've got some new designers that we've added to our team that can come out to your home, walk you through the whole process, help you as much as you need us to pull your home together.
And there's a big party coming on June 16th. You've got your Norwalk Furniture Grand Opening Gala, and it's going to be a big party here in the store, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about it.
It is. We hope to have dignitaries like Henry Hinton.
I'll be here.
And P.J. Conley is going to come, our mayor. Lots of fun people. All of my designers that shop here are going to be here in the community, and we're going to have some champagne and some hors d'oeuvres, representatives from Norwalk, and just have a big night of fun and festivities and education on what we offer.
I'll tell you, the store is packed right now. I know a lot of furniture stores are still having trouble getting inventory, but you guys have a lot of stuff people can buy right off the floor.
We do, Henry. We invested in a warehouse, and we've added lots of inventory so you can just have it delivered or pick it up the day you buy it. So lots of sofas, chairs, everything in performance fabric so you can enjoy your furniture.
And you started 12 months, same as cash.
We did start that so we can help with everything that's going on in the world right now.
All right, Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village. Don't forget the big party, the grand opening gala for the Norwalk Gallery, coming up on June 16th at 5:30, big ribbon cutting, and it's going to be a big party. So I'll be here. You need to be here too. Thanks to Lisa for the update.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Empty lots at car dealers everywhere, except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And yes, we have trucks. Buy the new Nissan Titan with 0.9% financing, or the all-new Frontier for $99 a
Ride and shotgun with your 5 o'clock drive.
Well, the drive home should be a delight.
This is Tom Lamprecht with more news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in News and Views for a Tuesday. Interesting story out of Town Hall. Liberals are now blaming conservatives for the SCOTUS-Dobbs leak. Have you heard this? Yeah, no, I'm dead serious.
Good grief.
They now are coming out, and CNN had a big story on this and interviewing people, and they were, I'm very serious about this. So the premise is John Roberts, who, as you know, he was in the middle. He supported Dobbs but didn't want to overturn Roe.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the 5 conservatives that wanted to overturn Roe and supported Dobbs, and then you had the 3 liberals that didn't want to do either. Well, as the story goes at CNN, they had some talking head over there who said that she's got inside information, so it's CNN, so we can't question them. But her story is that John Roberts was really working on convincing a couple of the other 5 to come over to his way of thinking that we could keep Roe and also support Dobbs. Well, their premise then is it was one of the conservatives that leaked it, because as soon as it was leaked, they became solid and firm in their decision, and they wouldn't back down. And that's the logic they've got as to why it was leaked, which, I'm sorry, it doesn't pass the smell test. And logically, and everybody said, and listen, I'm sorry, just the way the conservatives at the Supreme Court behave themselves, I do not see that coming out of one of the conservatives. I just don't. I'm sorry. Am I speculating here? Yeah, to a certain degree. But you look at the characteristics of the judges. On the other hand, however, I very much could see one of the – I'm not saying it's one of the justices, but I could see some flaming liberal that is clerking for one of the justices who got a hold of it who would have released it.
You know, I don't – I would be surprised if it was one of the justices, really any of the justices, to be honest with you. But regardless of if it was conservative aid of one of the conservative justices, hey, I think it's just as wrong. But for them to come out and say this, like we always say, you know, the Democrats always point fingers at what they really did. So now they're accusing of what they know they did, and I don't believe it. I'm sure it was probably an aid of one of the justices. And you know, CNN or whoever reports on this ought to say, okay, just let's look at the decision, all the different decisions in the last few years. The liberal justices almost 99% of the time take an activist position, even on things that should be a cut and dry decision. And
is it constitutional or is it not?
It should not even be a dissent, but they don't. They take an activist position on every single issue.
Well, and to that end, it was very much an activist position that brought us Roe.
Yeah.
And now you've got a conservative constitutional originalist majority on the Supreme Court who overturns an activist decision from 1973. And what do the liberals do? They point the finger at the conservative originalist constitutionalist justices and saying, oh, look, they're being activist.
Yeah, and you've got some really legal scholars now that are true. They're first an advocate for the law before they are their activist position, and some of them vote Democrat, but there's a slew of them that said, Roe wasn't right,
right?
And
exactly,
it happens all the time. But no, the Democrats and progressive now just they want to ignore that. They want to ignore that Ruth Bader Ginsburg pretty much said it was not good law at the time, but they want to ignore it now.
Yep. So Dr. Anthony Fauci, a.k.a. Alfred E. Newman, was doing an interview on Monday with the Hills TV vodcast Rising. This cut one, Clark. He claimed that he didn't recommend locking anything down through the course of COVID-19.
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. You're asking me questions. You're talking about the CDC is the public health agency that uses their epidemiologists and their science-based approach to make recommendations.
You got to be kidding me.
Hell, he was saying you couldn't go visit your family during Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But he says not locking down? Good grief. I mean, he's a liar. And how any network can listen to any of the bullshit that comes out of his mouth is just unbelievable to me.
March 12, 2020, supported school closures as a form of disease mitigation. April 10th, 2020, attacked Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for considering reopening schools. April 12th, 2020, gave his blessing for Bill de Blasio's plan to extend the closure of New York City schools. July 9th, 2020, said states should shut down depending on the level of COVID spread. August 4th, 2020, said schools should stay closed to prevent the spread of COVID while endorsing remote learning. August 13th, 2020, called for bars to be closed when he finally said schools should be open. September 17th, 2020, agreed with MSNBC's Chris Hayes that bars and restaurants should stay closed. October 6th, 2020, told then President Trump to shut down the entire country. The entire country! December 7th, 2020, told California cities they didn't have a choice but to lock down again. Here he is in his own words. Cut 2.
and that there may be some areas that the level of virus is so high that it would not be prudent to bring the children back to school. The bars, the restaurants where you have capacity seating indoors without masks, those are the things that drive the community spread.
Closing bars and restaurants is a policy intervention, and it seems to me the evidence from Arizona and from Texas and from New York City, that would help us a lot if we kept those closed. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. Those are things that are crystal clear, Chris.
Why California in certain sections is looking at the possibility of a lockdown.
Well, they have new restrictions in place as of this morning. Those restrictions make sense to you this morning?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I have been in discussion with the health authorities from the state of California who called me and asked, they said, we feel we need to do this. What do you think? And I said, you really don't have any choice.
Do these morons not realize that
that is the big red flag?
There is so much evidence out there and recordings and videos, and that they think, oh, if I lie with a straight face, everybody would believe me.
And if he goes on every network except for Fox and whatever some of these conservative networks out there, I mean, he's not going to get challenged on it.
No.
Any journalist that was a true journalist would have just blew him out of the water. Just and said, Dr. Fauci, that's nonsense. I mean, what was it? Once a day, he was going on TV saying stuff like that.
Oh, are you kidding me? And he was loving every second of it. I mean, there was not an interview that he didn't love. And look, and listen, they were smart. The liberals were smart that they had a tag team of Deborah Birx and Fauci, and they were both constantly, the scarf lady, constantly doing interviews. And quite frankly, now you go back 2 years ago, and people that were challenging what they were said, I mean, they were vilified.
Oh, yeah.
Strongly vilified. And I'm talking about whether you're Republican, conservative, liberal. Listen, I was constantly questioning them. And there was a lot of people that were really irritated with me for questioning them.
Oh, yeah. We were kicked off social media platforms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
People with a lot more blue checks than we have, kicked off Twitter permanently for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And
we're actually officially kicked off.
We're officially kicked off.
Completely, we're never getting back on?
I can't get it. They won't answer my reply. We're locked out.
Hey,
suspended.
Listen, that is a badge of honor, Clark. I'm proud of you. Getting us kicked off. Listen, with that, we're going to get kicked off because we got to run some ads. We'll be right back.
And we're on location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village here in Greenville. One of my favorite people. We've got Lisa Pendry here. And Lisa, big news. You've been working on the store. It looks fantastic. You finally have finished the transformation of the store. You've got your Norwalk gallery open. Give us the whole story here.
We are excited. It's been a big process. It's taken us a while, but now all of our renovations complete, from paint colors to little elegant showroom areas to highlight everything we offer here at Fabric and Home Furnishings.
And we say that it's a furniture store and so much more, and of course that means you also have designers on staff. So tell us about that. You got some new folks.
I do. I've got some new designers that we've added to our team that can come out to your home, walk you through the whole process, help you as much as you need us to pull your home together.
And there's a big party coming on June 16th. You've got your Norwalk Furniture grand opening gala, and it's going to be a big party here in the store, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about it.
It is. We have to have dignitaries like Henry Hinton.
I'll be here.
And PJ Conley is going to come, our mayor. Lots of fun people. All of my designers that shop here are going to be here in the community, and we're going to have some champagne and some hors d'oeuvres, representatives from Norwalk, and just have a big night of fun and festivities and education on what we offer.
I'll tell you, the store is packed right now. I know a lot of furniture stores are still having trouble getting inventory, but you guys have a lot of stuff people can buy right off the floor.
We do, Henry. We invested in a warehouse, and we've added lots of inventory so you can just have it delivered or pick it up the day you buy it. So lots of sofas, chairs, everything in performance fabric so you can enjoy your furniture.
And you started 12 months, same as cash.
We did start that so we can help with everything that's going on in the world right now.
All right, Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village. Don't forget the big party, the grand opening gala for the Norwalk Gallery, coming up on June 16th at 5:30, big ribbon cutting, and it's going to be a big party. So I'll be here. You need to be here too. Thanks to Lisa for the update.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Empty lots at car dealers everywhere, except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And
Back to the show that really makes you think.
He is a genius.
He's all powerful.
He brought a kind of heat.
He could be the best. Just don't hurt yourself, okay? More news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
So, for the record, it's summertime in the United States. Today is July 26, 2022. It's summer. Last time I checked, summer is usually hot. July is hot. Always been that way. I'm 68 years old. Summer's always been hot.
Inconceivable.
And it always will be hot. And yet, the Biden White House released an extensive 10-point fact sheet this afternoon about how Biden is fighting extreme heat. Who do you think is going to win? First on his list is buy lots of ice cream cones for Cousin Eddie. Biden's officials claim to be, quote, lowering cooling costs for families. Supporting community cooling centers, keeping workplaces safe, developing the first national heat standard to protect workers. I mean, only the Biden administration, these progressives, could possibly bureaucratically try to control weather.
Not to mention overwhelmingly controlling this by using fossil fuels to cool down things. Good grief.
Providing real-time data, response resources, identifying and addressing disproportionate impacts, leveraging nature to cool down cities.
And a big-ass fan.
Could you explain that? Leveraging nature to cool down cities. Investing in proactive resilience projects and funding innovative cooling technologies. That is the biggest list of BS I've read in a long time.
Leveraging nature.
Yeah.
Now, how big an ego and narcissist do you got to be to say, I'm going to leverage nature?
Well, they seem to think if you lower the CO2 that we're going to be able to make things cooler and they can control the level of the oceans. More specifically, the Department of Health and Human Services launched a, quote, climate and health outlook to inform health professionals of climate events expected in the next 30 to 90 days. And so they can't even predict the weather for tonight. And they're going to tell us what the next 30 or 90 days are going to be. Plus, they want to tell us what the next 50 years are going to look like. And can you say Al Gore? Al Gore, the guy that told us that the polar caps would be melted by now.
By 2012, I think, which is, 10 years ago? They're still around.
Yeah. And in fact, I think they're larger than they were when he predicted that.
You know what's rich is when, these climatologists go up there to, study the melting ice caps and they get frozen in and they have to be rescued. Exactly. That's always funny to me.
No, but listen, by the time their 30 to 90 days, proactive bureaucratic action takes place, it's going to be September or October. And guess what? It's going to be cool again. But don't worry, they will take credit for it. Listen to Thomas Massey schooling Pothole Pete on the ridiculousness of the left's green energy policies. Cut 3.
The average household uses 17% of their electricity for air conditioning. And that would mean the average household uses 1,870 kilowatt hours per year for air conditioning. If that average household plugged in electric cars, do you know how much more electricity they would use in comparison to the air conditioning that air conditions their whole house?
No, but again, I would emphasize it will
let me help
less
you. Let me help you with
overall.
that first before we go on, because the numbers are important. It would take 4 times as much electricity to charge the average household's cars as the average household uses on air conditioning. Do you think that could be? So if we reach the goal by 2030 that Biden has of 50% adoption instead of 100% adoption, that means the average household would use twice as much electricity charging one of their cars as they would use for all of the air conditioning that they use for the entire year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and Thomas Massey, if I'm not bad mistaken, is an MIT graduate, and I think
he lives off the grid.
Yeah, he lives off the grid. Yeah.
I think he's up from out of Kentucky.
I believe. Yeah. Very bright
smart guy. Oh, really smart guy. I mean, Thomas Massey to Pothole Pete is. I mean, it's not a fair match.
Taking a knife
Pete.
to a gunfight.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, thanks for being with us, and pray for our country. We are in dire straits. Pray for our country and do what you can. Don't forget, call Tom Tillis. Tell him
exactly.
Don't vote for that Marriage Restoration Act. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
What do you see when you imagine life on the coast? Is it salty or sweet?